Nested data refers to when collections contain other collections. In this video, I'm not going to go over a new Python type, but just a rough strategy for dealing with nested data, like the data that we get back from many web APIs. The overall strategy that we'll use is to first understand the data, and then operate on our data, typically by indexing or looping, and then repeating these two steps until we get what we want. So let's take this example, which gets a list of podcasts that have Ann Arbor in their name or description from the iTunes API. We can look at the iTunes API documentation for details on what we get back, but sometimes it's useful to be able to explore the results ourselves. So let's suppose that I do this to get data from the iTunes API, and then since it gives me a JSON back, then I'm going to call json.loads on the text that I get back, and I'm going to load that data into the variable result. So let's suppose that I want to print out the track name of every result that I get back from iTunes. Well, if I just print out result here, then I get this jumble of an output. And it's really hard to read a summary of these results, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something called pretty printing, which is a way of nicely formatting nested dictionaries. To pretty print, I'm going to use the JSON module, and I'm going to call json.dumps, but I'm going to add this indent argument to say that we don't just want to dump a string, we want to dump a nicely formatted string with indentations. And now, instead of printing result, then we're going to print out the result of json.dumps with an indentation set to 2. In our output now, we can see that there are two key value pairs. There's result count, which is set to 26, and there's results, which is set to this really long list. We only care about the results and not the result count, so we're going to index in results and loop over every item in this long list of results by saying for every row in result sub-results, and for now I'm just going to print out every single result individually. When I do that, then I can get a clear look at all of the key value pairs in every individual result, and I can see that the track name is under this key track name. So in this for loop, I'm going to replace this print statement with something to print out the track name for every individual row. And now the output of my program is the name of every track that's a podcast and has something to do with Ann Arbor that we got back from the iTunes API. So nested data refers to when collections contain other collections. The rough strategy that we'll use in dealing with nested data is to first understand the data by pretty printing it, and then finding out what we need and operating by indexing or looping over that data and repeating these steps until we finally extract what we want.